We have pondered our place amongst the stars since the dawn of humankind. We've looked at the stars with wonder and amazement, their glow guiding our travel for centuries. The more we learn about our universe, the more questions we have.
I'm Emily Calandrelli, and today you'll be following me behind the gates on this exclusive bus tour of Kennedy Space Center. Our journey will take us past active facilities and end at the visitor complex's own Apollo Saturn V Center.
But before we begin this journey, just like every NASA mission, our #1 goal is to return home safe. But there will be plenty of photo opportunities during the tour.
Now down the road here on the right, we have a rocket down here. This is a Mercury Redstone rocket, and that's a real rocket too, by the way. Now that rocket is like the one that took our first American into space, Alan Shepard, on May 5th, 1961. Now a little trivia about that rocket. It is a 1961 Chrysler. Now the Chrysler Corporation built that rocket. Also, that rocket is alcohol powered. Now up ahead here we have one of our main security gates, and this is the gate that's going to take us into our restricted area.
The Mercury Redstone rocket. It represents NASA's earliest efforts to send humans into space. These Redstone rockets were formerly ballistic missiles provided to NASA by the U.S. Army. In October of 1958, NASA formally organized Project Mercury with the mission to investigate man's reaction to this new environment and safely recover the capsule and its pilot. Man rating for human spaceflight on what was previously a ballistic missile was no easy task. After several modifications and test flights, a Mercury capsule carrying Ham, a chimpanzee, was successfully launched and recovered on January 31st, 1961. Just months later, on May 5th, astronaut Alan Shepard launched on a Mercury Redstone rocket, becoming the first American in space.
Hi, I'm Janet Petro, and welcome to NASA's John F. Kennedy Space Center, where NASA astronauts have ventured forth on flights of exploration since the 1960s. And what an exciting time to visit our multi-user spaceport. Through our Commercial Crew program, we are sending astronauts to the International Space Station from American soil for the first time since the Space Shuttle program ended in 2011. We're continuing to launch new research experiments and supplies to the space station with our commercial resupply services and launching the most technologically advanced scientific instruments to date into space through our Launch Services program. This all culminates in our ultimate mission, the Artemis program, where NASA will return to the moon, this time with the first woman and first person of color, and continue on to Mars. In all our history, there's been one common theme woven throughout our DNA. It's our insatiable desire to explore beyond our home planet in our never-ending quest to expand our knowledge of the universe. As you venture behind the gates, you'll find a community of the most talented, dedicated, motivated workforce anywhere in the world, who believe in the unlimited potential of space exploration. This is an active spaceport where new things are happening every day. You never know what you might see, so enjoy your tour.
Now up ahead here we have a really big building in front of us. This is called the Vehicle Assembly Building. And this is a building that we use
for SpaceX's new Starship rocket. That's why we're widening this road, so that the Starship rocket can come down this road. That's how big it is.
NASA is known for dreaming big, and big dreams require big equipment. I'm standing next to the Crawler Transporter, the largest self-powered land vehicle in the world. It was originally built in 1965 for the Apollo program, and has since been updated to accommodate the Space Shuttle and now NASA's SLS rocket. Weighing in at 6 million pounds and capable of lifting and hauling 18 million pounds, the Crawler is an engineering marvel, even without a rocket sitting on top of it. This thing has 2,750 horsepower V16 diesel engines that can carry the Crawler up to a top speed of, wait for it, 1 mile per hour while carrying a rocket. Keep an eye out for the crawler as we approach this area. And remember, we are visiting a working spaceport, so while the crawler may not stay in one area for very long, it's bound to be out here somewhere. Now, let me introduce you to my friend John Giles, the crawler project manager.
I'm standing in front of Crawler Transporter number 2 at Kennedy Space Center. Crawler Transporter number 2 will be used for the SLS program to take the launch vehicle back and forth to the pad. We will begin by going underneath the mobile launcher. We'll pick it up, we'll take it over to the VAB. They'll then assemble the launch vehicle on top of the mobile launcher, and then we'll come back to the VAB. We'll slide underneath it again, we'll pick it up, we'll take it out to the pad, a trip of about 4.2 miles. It'll take us about 7 hours to get there. But during our trip to the launch pad, we'll roll over a specially prepared crawler way that consists of anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of special rock. Below that is limestone that's
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I just told you about the crawler transporter, and that's the road on the right. See the rock on the right, then the grass area, and then there's more rock on the other side. When the crawler transporter is going out to the launch pad with a rocket, it reaches all the way from this side all the way over to the other side. If you see the tower out there to the right, that is called the mobile launcher. They're not through building it yet. When they get through building it, they will assemble the rocket to the side of it. If you look at the door on the right in the building, there's a mobile launcher right there, just like that one. It looks just like it. It's inside the building. They're assembling Artemis II rocket to it right now. That's what fuels and powers the rocket to launch. All of that goes out to the launch pad. And then, of course, the building with the dark slanted windows here to the right, that is the Launch Control Center. You might have saw that in a movie if you watched Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks, or Armageddon with Bruce Willis. And if you look out to the left, you'll see that beautiful American flag flying out there. On the ground, there's a blue piece of equipment. That's the countdown clock. And the buildings on the left is the press area. That's where they do all of their broadcasts. And also right in the middle of the press area, you see the CBS News building. That's where Walter Cronkite used to sit and talk about the Apollo 11 missions. Ladies and gentlemen, we had some other movies filmed here and partially filmed, and I'll tell you about those in a moment. But when the Artemis rocket is complete, on top of the Artemis rocket is the Orion capsule that carries the astronauts. Now, during flight, if something goes wrong, we have to have a way to get the astronauts in the capsule away from the rocket. That's called the launch abort system. This is the launch abort system right here on the right. This is a model of it. It looks just like a missile. Right there is the launch abort system. The next thing that you're going to see is the crew access arm. Every Apollo astronaut walked across that during the Apollo missions. The next thing you're going to see is an M113 personnel tank. We use an armored vehicle around the launch pad. As the astronauts are getting into the capsule, if something goes wrong, they get into a basket, they zip line down into a vehicle like that, and they drive out safely. We have never had to use one yet. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
When President John F. Kennedy made this speech in 1962, he set in motion an era of discovery that would change humankind forever. 7 years after he spoke these ambitious words, the world watched as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first people to walk on the moon. The achievements of the men and women who worked on the space program in these early decades of NASA helped propel the technology we use every day. NASA and the thriving private space industry at Kennedy Space Center today are the living legacy of their story. As we arrive at the Apollo Saturn V Center to learn more about that historic era, get ready to step back into a time when NASA had everything to prove to a nation focused on one goal: to be the first country to land a person on the moon.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you look across the water, you see the two towers I told you about. That's launch pad 39A, where we just came from. This is where we bring people to watch launches from there. And across the bleachers, you'll see 3 tall lightning towers. That's launch pad 39B. That is what's still used by NASA. That's where they take the Artemis rockets with the towers you see them built. That's where Apollo 10, 53 shuttle missions and Artemis 1 was launched.
Please check around your seat to make sure you have all of your belongings before departing the bus. Wait at the metal doors to enter the Apollo Saturn V Center. A new show will begin every 10 minutes. Stay and explore as long as you like, and simply exit through the Right Stuff gift shop to board a bus back to the visitor complex. About a 15-minute ride with buses departing frequently.
To successfully dock. Once on board, pre-selected crew members transferred to the lunar lander, or was assigned to Gateway, remain on station. The lunar lander system itself is built for 3 unique steps. Descending from the halo orbit of Gateway down to a low lunar orbit, descending from low lunar orbit to the surface. And once the lunar mission is complete, launching from the surface of the moon and ascending all the way back to the orbiting Gateway. Once back aboard the Orion spacecraft and undocked from Gateway, the crew fly either engine 1 to and once again to sling the spacecraft around the moon, placing it on a multi-day trajectory back towards Earth. As they near the end of this journey, the service module is released. The crew module is oriented to heat shield first. Entering Earth's atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour, the friction of air slows Orion considerably, but also subjected to temperatures of 5,000 degrees. With the Orion now at just 800 miles per hour, a series of parachutes uniquely tested and produced for this moment deploys, decelerating craft to just 20 miles per hour for splashdown. Artemis ushers in the next wave of men and women to explore our moon. And prove that together, we are ready to go to the moon.